The Final Four kicks off tonight with the women, though. Texas takes on South Carolina, and UConn takes on UCLA. UConn is the odds-on favorite to win the national championship at -160. South Carolina is at +270, so they're the second best odds to win. And then UCLA and Texas are both tied to be +800. That's actually insane to me because, well, I mean, like, how are they going to, how do you put 3 and 4 together? But that's wild. Right. So this is not no betting advice, so don't take our word for it. But I think South Carolina's gonna win. So, then the men's start tomorrow. You got Florida and Auburn, and then you got Houston and Duke. So Duke is the odds-on favorite to win that. They're at -110. Florida's at +300. Houston 450, and Auburn is 575. So the safest bet to do is obviously Duke. But if you want to get better money for your buck, then you would probably just try to look at Auburn or Houston.
Yeah.
So here's the hype for it. You got Lauren Betts, you got Paige Beckers, you got obviously Cooper Flagg and Jonai Broom, and then you got Walter Clayton Jr. So all of those, it's gonna be a fun weekend to watch basketball for sure. You got the national championship Monday.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep.
Yes. And then
I still hate that they do that. I still hate that they do the championship on a Monday. Yeah, it should be prime time on a night where you can get the most amount of eyes possible. It should not be on a Monday night, a night in the work week, where people got to get up and bust their ass tomorrow morning, or go to school, or do something tomorrow.
They're still going to get it, though.
They're still going to get a national championship game. And then think about, too, are you actually going to get butts and seats? Like on a Monday night?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the college football playoff, too.
You could get so much more attraction. You get so much more attraction.
See, it's different for football, though. For football, they have the AFC Championship like the day before, so people are still hot off that, or divisional round, one of those. And the day after, they always have the national championship. It's smart because no one has Monday. Everyone watches Monday Night Football, anyways. So that's just
whoever made this graphic is insane, though. That's actually kind of pretty sick to me. I ain't gonna lie.
That's tough. Whoever did that, shout out to you. But I got Paige Buckets winning it all, bro. And
Paige Buckets, wow, that's a new one. Well, I mean, she's the odds-on favorite to win, but I got South Carolina. I ain't gonna lie, I can't go against Dawn Staley, bro.
You got to realize, bro, she was CC before CC was CC, bro. Let me tell you something.
And I'm down that hill that CC is probably the greatest women's basketball player as we know right now.
Wait.
You could make an argument if Paige never got injured, though. That should be.
Well, yeah, of course. There's
bro.
I don't think Caitlin comes onto the scene if Paige is
exactly
already there. So really, the injury helped. It really actually helped women's basketball. Like, it's insane. Like,
if Paige was healthy, she would have dropped off CC every time they played. She already did.
Yeah, because she played. I mean, I can't lie though, because Caitlin played with a bunch of 3-4 star players, and Paige is playing with a lot of 5 stars. But
is that UConn?
UConn, yeah. But bro, like, I get it. The school placement, but you got to understand though, it's still levels to the game. Paige was doing stuff before Caitlin Clark was shooting from half court. Like, she was doing some crazy. And then we got Juju Watkins. Like, I'm praying for her knee. Oh my God. Let me tell you something, bro. When Juju Watkins goes to WNBA,
she is gonna be insane. It's gonna be interesting. She might end up in Toronto. I ain't even gonna lie though.
Did you see that one stat line? She had like 35, like 7, 10, and 8 steals. Some crazy. I don't remember the exact numbers. Some crazy numbers. I'm telling you right now, Juju Watkins
balling.
Juju Watkins is one of the best women's basketball players I've ever seen. Okay, and that takes nothing away from like Candace Park. Candace Park is bucket. Okay, all the women, Bird is a bucket. Okay, but man, Juju's something else. She's special, bro. There's another girl somewhere. I forgot what school it was. I gotta look it up. She plays like Kyrie, bro. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, the talent in women's basketball gets me excited for the WNBA.
It's gotten so much.
I think it's for Wiley.
The talent is exponentially growing.
Yeah, for Wiley for South Carolina.
Yes, she's a bucket. She's a bucket. She plays like Kyrie Irving, bro. Just straight handles. Just, and then you got Flage. We know she's a rapper. She's a bucket on LSU. She was, at least, with Angel Reese. Man.
Before we get into the men's, that's actually insane to actually think about that. Flage is going to be going back to school, and Olivia Miles is headed back to school. So that's interesting because now the WNBA was marketing them to. So now that they're going back to school, it's just Paige really coming out for real. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
but you got to wait all 4 years as a woman though, right? To go to the next level.
They have. I think it's 3, but they had the
because Flau'jae went back. And she's going to be a senior this year.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought you have to wait till after your senior year to go because the you got to get your education or something like
Maybe
that.
She's a fifth year
because they got that COVID thing. I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I guess they get extra year. But
yeah.
So I think it is a senior, but they get the COVID extra year. So she's foregoing the WNBA. Her and Olivia Miles is foregoing that and going back to school. But Olivia Miles has entered the transfer portal, so that would be interesting to see where she ends up.
Haley Van Lith is tough too. She gonna be she's short too.
Bro, Haley Van Lith is probably she's probably the baddest women's basketball player I've ever seen. I ain't even gonna cap to you. Haley Van Lith, bro.
Haley Van Lith. What about Cameron Brink? What's going on?
She too skinny for me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You said the exact same thing.
I can't even lie. Like, but going into the men's side, we got Cooper Flag obviously leading the headline for the NBA. Jonai Broom, who's gonna probably be a top 10 pick. You got Walter Clayton Jr. as well. So my Final Four was up to snuff when Tennessee happened, but Tennessee lost, so that ruined my Final Four. And then Michigan State lost. So
that really been busted since second round, bro.
Yeah. So we got who y'all national championships? Who y'all national championship pick? Because we won't be back on the cast till after the championship. So.
I gotta stand with Duke, man. They've just watching. They're a fun team to watch. Their chemistry is outstanding. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, they're like
Todd and Cooper are just both such smart players, and that's why they're able to succeed. It's just they know how to draw the defense when they go into the lane and just throw up those lobs to their 7'2" center with the 7'5" wingspan. And it's just insane how well they play together as a team. And then Proctor's out there as well doing his thing. And it's so much fun to watch in their offense. It's a locomotive. It really is.
What's actually crazy is that Duke plays well without Cooper too. So that's
he goes to the bench, and there's such a good, just a well-rounded, deep team that they can handle him going to the bench. Whereas some teams, if their best player gets in foul trouble, they struggle.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see. My champion is I'm taking Duke.
I want Florida to win, but
I think Florida's going to win.
I think
they're going to.
I really need them to win, but I don't see it no more, bro. I don't know.
They have the size to combat Duke. That's the thing. They have the size to beat Auburn. And what I like is that Florida is 25-11 against the spread this year, and they're 2.5-point favorites. Auburn has not covered their team total over-under in 7 of their last 8 games. They've been under their team total in 7 of the last 8, and that includes tournament games. I'm not comfortable taking Auburn. And plus, watching that game against Michigan State, I don't see the hype around Jonai Broom. I really don't. I struggle to see the hype. He doesn't look athletic. He looks pretty slow and doesn't do much outside of the paint or even mid-range. He shoots every once in a while, but it's never outside the three-point arc, at least from what I saw in these couple tournament games from Auburn.
He had a couple and then early in the season, Michigan State, I think. He hit a 3 for sure.
He pulled a couple, but he's just so slow and unathletic that I just cannot trust Jonai Broom to get around the likes of guys like Alex Condon and Thomas Huff.
Yep.
And then on top of that, too, Ruben Chinyelu is a defensive menace. This is a guy who didn't pick up a basketball. He didn't pick up a basketball until he was 15, and now he's one of the better defensive forwards or even centers, if you want to call him a center, in the nation. And Florida has the size. I've been following Walter Clayton Jr. since he was with Iona. He was a guy originally a Rick Pitino recruit. I'm honestly surprised he didn't follow Pitino to St. John's, but he has been terrific for Florida these last couple seasons. 18 points per game this year, 17.5 last year, 17 the year before that at Iona. He's always been a prolific three-point shooter. This year, nearly shooting 40%. His efficient field goal percentage is 56. I mean, this guy, assist-wise, this is a career high for him in assists this year, 4.2 per game. Florida just has all the keys. They've been the consensus number one, at least in my book, the longest this year, right? Because we had Kansas right at the beginning of the season. Then there was a point where
talk about a fall from grace, Kansas.
Yeah. Oh, that's ridiculous. Bill Self.
Sorry to bring this up, but AJ Storr on his 8th team in 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 high school teams. Now going to be on to his 4th college, and he was almost drafted last year. He was in the draft class last year and decided to pull out because he wasn't that good.
You said you're not.
This year, if he wanted any chance of being drafted in the future, he killed it this year.
Oh, 100%. But I think Florida takes down Auburn for sure. I have a matchup against Duke. There's no way Houston is able to overcome Duke. They're just too top heavy, too strong, and too well coached to really lose that game. But I think Florida wins it all. I think Florida has the size to match up against Duke, especially down low. Alex Condon, for as big as he is a good ball facilitator. Thomas Huff is a solid stretch 3, stretch 4. Ruben Chinyalu locks down the paint, and Walter Clayton Jr. is your primary ball handler, and he's dropping 20 points a game.
So you're not convinced by Johnny Broom, right? Yes, that what you said.
I'm not convinced by Janai Broom. I think Florida takes out Auburn fairly easily. They were the consensus number 1 going into the tournament. They're definitely not the number 1 team in the country at all. They were not this entire tournament. They honestly could have lost early. They could have, and I think they should have lost early. I don't know if this Auburn team really deserves to be in the Final Four.
I'm telling you now, bro.
I really don't know.
They couldn't stop Broom the first time. Broom had 18 and 11 the first time they played, or something like that.
Because he's still a solid double getter.
Yeah, but
every
that
night
means,
he goes out there and gets a solid double.
That means the front court's going to have even more opportunity. I don't think this is an easy matchup whatsoever. I'm actually afraid that they're going to lose. I want them to win, but that gives way more opportunity for the front court. When the player is that good as a forward, you got to think about what Alex Condon, I think, is going to be having opportunity. Chinileu, like you said, is going to have. Excuse me if I pronounced that wrong. And then Thomas Hall, Micah, whatever his last name is. They're all going to have a chance to just really go at it against Florida, and that's just my biggest fear, bro. Like Florida's they stand a great chance against Duke, in my opinion. That's one of the best.
The real question about Auburn is Chad Baker-Mazara healthy?
Yeah.
If he's not healthy, and it's not even if he's not healthy, if he's not 100%, that takes out a key cog in that Auburn rotation. That's even just more proof why I think Florida. If I were to be a betting man, I'm taking Florida money line and the under on this game. I think it's going to be a lot of defense. It's going to be high pressure. I mean, Auburn has had so much pressure on them the last few years, especially after last year losing to Yale in the first round, right? They've had a lot of pressure on them the last few years. They weren't a notorious basketball program by any means in the last decade. And now you made the Final Four as the consensus number one seed. And now you're going against Florida, who's been red hot all season, beat the brakes off Tennessee and Alabama in their conference tournament, won the conference tournament. Now they're another number 1 seed. In neutral ground, this is going to be a tough matchup for Auburn, and simply because they have not hit their team total points in the 7 of the last 8, I got to go with the under. I think there's going to be a lot of defense. It's going to be a defense-centric matchup, but Florida gets my vote for the win, and I think Florida wins it all.
Nice.
I got Florida.
I got Duke.
About Florida that they have is the clutch factor. They've just been able to close out games. Walter Clayton has had so many big shots this tournament. He had 2 huge threes against Texas Tech in like the last minute and a half, and then against UConn too. He closed that game out basically by himself. So they're battle tested, and they faced some of the tougher teams in this tournament. And I think they're going to beat out Auburn, but Duke is just going to be too much.
All right.
Because they're a locomotive on offense.
The matchup is perfect against Duke. If you think about it, their rotations are perfect. The way they play, like you said, Florida is always under pressure at the end of the game. Okay, there's going to be a tight game against Duke if they play each other. Florida has the best chance to beat.
If there is one thing that Duke is lacking somewhat, it's the experience factor.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. They're young, man. Like I get it. They have all-star players with.
I would, if it goes down to the wire in that game, I'm trusting Florida specifically because Walter Clayton's been around. He's been around the block.
Like we look back before the tournament when Duke played UNC. Like they were unprepared the entire second half. They didn't know exactly what they were doing. That's the thing I go off of mainly when it comes to this national championship matchup. When Duke plays Florida, like, and it gets down to the wire, I am going, like you said, I'm going to trust Florida with my life on that last shot. So I mean, obviously Duke has more talent. I will agree with that. Duke has the better talent. But when it comes to being coached better, like it's up in the air for me, man, because it's so many different realms you can go to. Like end of the game, like Florida, you're going to trust to start off the game to get hot. I'm going with Duke. Like in the middle of the game, who's gonna shift momentum? That's a toss up to me too. So if it goes down to the wire, like I said, like I've been saying, Florida's going to take that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Duke did. Don't get me wrong; their talent overweighs everything else, even if they're not coached well sometimes. But Florida just has the all around, talent and coaching to win that game. I think they're the best chance to knock off Duke.
All right. So before we move into the NBA playoffs, we have a graphic. Who are you taking in this 2v2? I don't know if it goes east to west or north to south, but if it's east to west,
come on, man.
If it's east to west, there's no chance. There is no chance that you are being Warren Betts and Cooper Flag. There is no chance.
No.
North to south.
Not one. You don't have a prayer. I'm sorry. I love Paige. Paige is good. She's great. She's one of the greatest women's basketball players. You're not beating Flag and Betts. That's not going to happen.
Cooper is so much more athletic than Janai Broome, too. And you just get him out on the perimeter, and it's Rhapsody USA from there pretty much.
Janai Broome can't guard. He can't guard Cooper Flag, bro.
It's going to literally have
Janai Broome is slow.
Paige Beckers would literally have to hit a bunch of shots from the mid-range. She's not getting in the paint.
Hey, she's hitting that too. Don't get him stuck. She's hitting that over.
But when it comes down to Janai Broome, Cooper Flag is locking that down. Sorry. Cooper Flag has some real defense.
He has some real defense, but
if Auburn makes the championship,
oh, it's over. It's wraps. I ain't gonna lie. That matchup is sad. He's too slow. He's too slow to
be cooked.
Flag, bro.
I'm sorry. I like Janai Broome, but he's too cooked. He's cooked. He's cooked.
Joe, man,
it's just not a good matchup for him at all.